We are getting some breaking news in the investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie.
Before anything else, subscribe right now, because in this video we are answering the one question that has haunted this.
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom.
Nobody's eliminated, but we just really don't have enough to say, this is our son, this is our guy, we know, or our gal. We just don't know that.
Just family. We're going to go with family.
We're always mindful of what it is that's in front of us and what we should release and can release. There's legal guidelines that guide us, but there's also strategy too. So, I'll leave that for you.
In a deeply emotional on-camera appeal, Cameron Guthrie stepped forward with a message aimed directly at whoever may be holding his mother, Nancy Guthrie. His plea was simple but urgent. The family wants contact. They want answers. And above all, they want proof that she is still alive. So far, that message has been met with silence. And in a case already surrounded by fear and uncertainty, that silence is now taking on serious weight. Federal investigators have pointed out that in most kidnapping cases, ransom communications tend to come fast and continue with pressure. Here the pattern appears broken, and officials have made it clear that the absence of follow-up is anything but ordinary. One person connected to the flood of ransom-related messages has already been identified and arrested. Derek Carla, a California man, now faces federal charges after allegedly contacting Annie Guthrie and her husband, Thomas Ogen, asking whether Bitcoin had been sent and claiming he was waiting for the payment to clear. Investigators say they traced the communication through an internet-based phone system to a Google email account allegedly linked to Carla. Authorities say he admitted to sending 2 messages and also calling the family directly. The charges he faces carry serious consequences, with possible prison time ranging from several years to, under certain circumstances, even life. But while that arrest removed one false lead from the spotlight, it did not answer the larger mystery surrounding the other ransom notes still hanging over this case. Those remaining communications were sent to media outlets, including TMZ, Cult V, and KGUN in Tucson. Investigators believe the 3 notes may have come from the same source, though that has not yet been officially confirmed. What makes those messages especially frustrating is that the details they contained, including references to floodlights at the home and an Apple Watch, may not have come from inside knowledge at all. Much of that information had already surfaced in media coverage the very same day the notes were sent, meaning anyone following the headlines could have pieced together those details without knowing anything about what really happened. Sheriff's officials have made it clear that the investigation is casting an extremely wide net. In public remarks, the sheriff stressed that absolutely no one has been ruled out, describing a case in which everyone remains under consideration, from the Uber driver who reportedly brought Nancy to Annie's home earlier that evening to household workers such as the gardener or pool service. At the same time, he emphasized that no prime suspect has been publicly identified and said the family has been fully cooperative from the start, complying with every request investigators have made. He also warned that public speculation and online accusations aimed at specific people could do real damage to the case. Still, the media attention around one particular possibility has not faded. The journalist who first reported that the son-in-law may be considered a prime suspect has not backed away from that reporting. She pointed to a situation many true crime followers will remember well, the Moscow, Idaho murders, where investigators privately had powerful evidence linking Brian Koberger to the scene, even while publicly maintaining that no suspect had been named. Her source, she said, remained consistent over 3 straight days, continuing to describe the son-in-law as someone who may be at the center of investigators' focus. That contrast between what authorities say in public and what may be happening behind the scenes has become one of the most talked about tensions in the case. The sheriff's press conference only added more intrigue, especially in the moments where he appeared to carefully sidestep direct answers. When asked whether cameras at Annie's home had been smashed, he did not reject the claim outright. Instead, he said he did not know where that information originated, while confirming that 2 cameras had been removed and disconnected. He also stated that law enforcement does not currently have those cameras and that they have not been found. What authorities do know is that one camera was triggered at 1:47 a.m., followed by another alert at 2:28 a.m., creating a chilling 45-minute window of activity. Because Nancy reportedly did not have an active subscription with the camera company, investigators were only able to recover basic alert data rather than video footage. The system simply logged that a person had been detected near the camera without revealing who it was or what they were doing. Questions about who last saw Nancy and who brought her home that night have also become a major point of scrutiny. Reporters pressed for clarity, asking whether Annie, Thomas Ogen, or both had dropped her off. The sheriff's response was strikingly vague. He said, "Only just family. We are going to go with family." That answer raised more questions than it settled. Separately, it had been reported that the sheriff told the New York Times the last person to drop Nancy off was Thomas Ogen. Yet, during the public briefing, he chose not to repeat that detail, instead shielding it behind broader language. In a case where every word matters, that kind of careful phrasing has not gone unnoticed. Another significant development involves Annie Guthrie's vehicle, the car that brought Nancy home that evening. The sheriff confirmed that the vehicle has been towed and placed into evidence as part of the search warrant process and is now being examined by investigators. That means whatever digital footprint the car may hold, including telematics, GPS activity, and travel history, is potentially available to authorities. At the same time, forensic testing has confirmed that the blood found on the front porch belongs to Nancy Guthrie. So far, the DNA results that have come back point only to the victim, not to an unknown attacker. Officials say more biological evidence has been submitted and that additional lab results are still pending, with turnaround times expected to vary depending on the testing involved. The issue of forced entry remains another major unanswered question. A source cited by the journalist has reportedly claimed there was forced entry, but the sheriff has refused to publicly confirm or deny that detail. Instead, he repeated that it was not something investigators were prepared to discuss. That same pattern has surfaced again and again in this case, not a flat contradiction, but a refusal to lock in key facts in public. It suggests a department carefully shaping what is released while pursuing a more private and possibly more advanced investigative strategy behind closed doors. When asked directly whether he was holding back information because the case is active, the sheriff offered a carefully measured answer. He said, "There are legal guidelines, but there is also strategy," then left it to others to decide what that meant. That single word, strategy, said plenty. It signaled that what the public is hearing may be only part of the picture, and that certain facts may be intentionally withheld for tactical reasons. Whether that approach is designed solely to protect the investigation or to preserve a broader narrative is a question many are now asking. For now, the facts remain stark and unsettling. Nancy Guthrie is still missing. Her blood was found on the front porch. Her home security cameras were triggered at 1:47 a.m. and again at 2:28 a.m., then removed and disconnected, and they are still missing. One fake ransom sender has been arrested, but the more credible ransom communications remain unresolved. The family's car is in evidence. The family continues to cooperate, and the sheriff, who is said to have privately described the case as a kidnapping, has been far more cautious with that label in public, even while acknowledging that strategy is influencing what people are being told. Anyone with information is being urged to contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI or submit a tip through tips.fbi.gov. The reward has now climbed past $1.2 million. And if one thing is certain, it is that this story is still unfolding, with every new development challenging what the public thought it understood just days before.